Now we move on to Middle East. The United Nations has confirmed that at least 127 civilians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes on Lebanon since a ceasefire was declared nearly a year ago. The UN has called for an impartial investigation into these strikes as the violence continues to escalate. Israel and Lebanon accuse each other of violating the ceasefire agreement. Israel has accused Hezbollah of rebuilding its military capabilities, while Lebanon has blamed Israeli forces for continuing strikes and maintaining troops inside the Lebanese territory. The UN has highlighted a recent Israeli attack on the Ain al-Hilweh refugee camp in southern Lebanon, which killed 13 civilians, including 11 children. The United Nations spokesperson has raised concerns that the attack may have violated international law. The strikes have also caused significant damage to civilian infrastructure, displacing more than 64,000 people in southern Lebanon. The UN has called for all parties to comply with the ceasefire, urging prompt and impartial investigations into these incidents. Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Dr. Wael Awad. He's a Middle East affairs expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Dr. Wael, for joining us again. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now looking at this, how do you analyze the ceasefire situation between Lebanon and Israel? Why do you think Israel is continuously violating the ceasefire without any repercussion?
Well, I don't think there is any excuse or any explanation better than there is nobody to stop the Israeli government from the aggressions. The United States has given the green signals. The Prime Minister of Israel put his own intention, plan of expansion in the region. He has violated the ceasefire the 1 year now, for now 2,764 times. He has already attacked even the UNIFIL forces, which is the UN forces in the region. He attacked them, he bombed them, he refused to let them enter into areas. Not only that, I mean, before the ceasefire agreement, the Lebanese government was in full control of the south of Lebanon. Now, even Israel was not there to pass 1 inch into the territory. Currently, Israel have 5 military bases inside the mountain of south of Lebanon, and they are monitoring all movement in that area, not allowing the civilian to come back, not allowing the farmers to do their farming. They're not allowing even trucks to come and remove all the debris and build up their home. They wanted an area, total area of more than 15 to 20 kilometers deep inside the south of Lebanon, a free military area, no activities, no people to leave. And they are already building a Berlin Wall inside the territories of Lebanon, where they're chopping out many of the territories inside into Israel. So therefore, there's a plan, and this plan has been put. And as I said earlier in your channel, the United States have already agreed with the Israelis when they stopped the they halted their activity in Gaza Strip, though they are also still violating, that they give Netanyahu the upper hand and a free hand in West Bank and also in Lebanon.
And why do you, as you know, you've mentioned that Israel is continuing to doing that because there's nobody to really stop them. Now, what role can United Nations realistically play? Can they stop them, or can they ensure accountability for their continuous violations?
Well, unfortunately, if you look at the hypocrisy of the President of the United States, you see among, when he put his plan for Gaza, the United Nations Security Council met and accepted his plan, right? And for the first time in his history, he praised the UN system and organization, saying this is a great organization. But if you look at his previous statement against the UN, you will notice that he even threatened to pull US aid to the United Nations, and many of the UN agencies have been denied the American aid, including the UNRWA. So therefore, when it suits them, they will be more than happy to see that the UN can do. And when the UN makes some kind of a resolution against Israel, it is first the United States who will veto this resolution. And if you look at the history of the UN, ever since the creation of Israel in 1948, not a single resolution was passed, because most of the time at the Security Council, the US will also have the veto power. And that's where, unfortunately, the international body has been used only by the superpower who can implement their own political objectives.
And lastly, Dr. Awad, why do you think Hezbollah is not attacking Israel back? As we know, Hezbollah has been targeted again and again, and they're kind of used as an excuse to hit inside of Lebanon's territory from Israel.
Asuma, I think this is a very important question you raise here, and I believe the reason for this, it has two parts. One is that the Hezbollah have already adhered to the commitment, to the agreement, to the truce with the Israelis, and they have already accepted this. That was one of the issues, and they give the upper hand to the Lebanese government to deal with the situation, since it is a government issue, it's not a party issue. And they have been patiently, strategically, they are restraining themselves from replying to any Israelis, because the intention of Netanyahu, by provoking them continuously, is meant that he wanted to make sure that the Lebanese army or the Lebanese Hezbollah respond to the Israeli provocation. And they have killed the major leaders, by the way, the big leaders inside the Hezbollah, yet they have not responded. But I think that will not last for long, because Netanyahu promised to turn Lebanon into Gaza, and he is going to do it. And I'm sure by continuous provocation without any international pressures, the situation in the Middle East is very turbulent, and the future is unforeseen. And I don't think there is any stability in the near future.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for highlighting the background and possibility as well. Dr. Wael Awad, please stay with us as we come back to you for our next news as well. Now we stay in the region. Israel has handed over the bodies of 15 Palestinians a day after Hamas has returned the remains of Israeli hostage Dror Or as part of the US brokered ceasefire, whose first phase is nearing its end. Gaza's health ministry says this brings the total number of the bodies received to 345 people. Hamas says it remains committed to returning the last 2 hostage remains, though recovery is difficult amid Gaza's destruction. Mediators from Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt have met in Cairo to discuss the ceasefire's second phase, which could include an international stabilization force tasked with disarming Hamas and overseeing Gaza's reconstruction. Meanwhile, Israeli forces carried out new strikes in Gaza, killing several militants in Rafah and central Gaza, while the health ministry has reported more than 69,700 Palestinians killed since the war began. In the West Bank, Israeli forces launched a major operation in Tubas, as officials warned that rising unrest in the territory could threaten the fragile ceasefire. Now for this discussion, we welcome back Dr. Wael Awad. He's a Middle East Affairs research expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Dr. Awad, for staying with us. Now looking at this, although, in the first phase, what was supposed to be finished hasn't all finished yet, but the talks for phase 2 continue. What's your analysis? Do you think it's ready? Do you think the talks should go on, or what do you think?
Well, I think this is the second phase of the agreement has to be implemented. That's why Hamas have been trying to meet the demands of the Israeli government by handing over the maximum number of the remaining of the hostages' bodies. And they have done it in very small or very scale time, because, the situation inside Gaza is very deteriorating and in a sham. There is no heavy machineries to remove the debris. There are more than 10,000 dead Palestinians under the debris, and they are unable to remove them. So they have been taking the assistance of the Egyptian in removing and helping in the rescue operation and finding out the dead body of the Israelis. So I think that shows that the Hamas is very much keen on implementing a Trump plan. And I think after the Trump have got the approval of the UN on these issues, Israel is reluctant to implement it. In fact, did not even in the full spirit implemented it the first phase, where they still remain within the green line. They still remain attacking the Palestinians. They killed more than 364 Palestinians ever since the ceasefire agreement. They have continued to destroy cities in Gaza. their buildings, and in fact, area under their complete control have been totally obliterated because they don't want to see any kind of livelihood on those areas. So I don't think Israel is willing to implement the second phase in its true spirit. They wanted to extract the maximum concession from the American administration, and they wanted to bring an international assistant forces into the region, or stabilizing forces under the Israeli control and not under the UN, which is the Palestinian themselves are under occupation by the international law, and they should have international protection. But when you start demanding that you wanted these people to be only under the Israeli protection, that means all these countries are in favor of Israelis' genocides against the Palestinians.
And, lastly, building on that, why do you think that, no, not why do you think, let me change my question, sorry. I wanted to ask, do you think there's a difference or discrepancy between U.S. and Israel right now? As you know, U.S. pushes ahead, but Israel feels like it's still stuck in enforcing the phase one.
Well, I think there is no difference. American and Israelis are in the same coin, both sides of the same coin. It's only that because of the American President Trump himself personally took in this issue and made this ceasefire happen, Israel feels that the American are putting too much pressure on Netanyahu, and they wanted to prove that they are independent state and they don't need any American pressure to stop this war or change their strategy of obliterating the whole of Gaza, expelling the Palestinians, disarming Hamas, and also taking over, annihilating of whole of West Bank, and taking the control totally there, partially, completely, and expelling the Palestinian, then goes. So all that comes in the major objective of the Israeli government, which also fall in the same line with the American. They may differ only on the modus operandi, but both of them are achieving the same.
Right. With that, I would like to thank Dr. Awad for joining us as a Middle East